We're going to go ahead and go back into our replay analysis now, guys. This is Robloxian plays in the Marceau. And he brought with him a few tricks. So let's talk about the Marceau. She's a tier 10 French destroyer. Now she's the premium or special. She's a little challenging because she's got 127mm guns instead of the 139s. The ballistics are a little bit different. She's still fast, and she still has decent torpedoes, but the guns feel a little bit weird. So, yeah, floaty. Right. So let's take a look at Rob's build. As Drifton points out, Rob does have equipment in every slot, which is an improvement for Rob at tier 10. So Rob is bringing with him main armaments mod 1, engine room protection, aiming systems, propulsion, concealment, and main battery. This is good. I think this is fine. Most Marceau players use their speed to back up, go forward, etc., etc. So I think that's good. Electric with a 5-stream streak. Nice job, Electric. Now, alternately, you could go for steering gears, but if you look at your maneuverability, you're at under 5 seconds already, so I think this makes sense. Rob, is there a special captain here, or is this a standard?
No, it's standard.
Okay, I have to stop for a second and ask, why is it standard instead of an honore?
Yeah, I don't have any of those.
Why don't you?
I was focused on other things when those came out.
Okay, so I'm going to put this out there for you and everybody else who's watching. Go for the commanders first, then get your ships. You absolutely want honore. And if you can get Abanu, you want Abanu. Take a look at this. Abanu has a bonus to survivability expert. That's 50 extra HP per tier. You're a tier 10. That's 500 extra HP. That's a shell or two, which is important. And now let's take a look at the honore. Honore gets a buffed adrenaline rush, which is freaking huge when it comes to destroyers, especially. All right, well, regardless, you went standard. So let's take a look. You've got consumables. What do you get consumables for? Engine boost and defensive anti-air? Huh?
So there's a trick. There's a trick to doing it. You only need 3 speed boosts. If you use the speed boost, the special speed boost upgrade in slot 2.
Right here. Because if you do this, your engine boost lasts enough to the point where you're probably never going to use your 4th engine boost, right? Is that what you're trying to say, SAT?
Yep.
Yeah.
This saves 3-point skill for other uses because, yeah, that's really the only reason to ever take the extra speed boost.
Yeah, consumable specialist means that your engine boost is available sooner. You probably don't care about your defensive anti-air. Okay. I don't think this is useful. I do like the core build down here. Now, concealment could still be helpful. What is it? 775. With concealment expert, it's 7. Still useful, very useful.
With her speed, you actually can ambush destroyers if you get around islands.
Mm-hmm.
At least less careful ones. It's hard to do in open water, but you could actually run at destroyers if there's enough room.
Right. So the core build is fine. I would definitely take concealment. I don't know Mabas. I don't think I would take Mabas. I think I would take radiolocation. Or no, I'd take radiolocation. Or maybe main battery range. What do you think, SAT?
Radiolocation is viable. It'll tell you where the nearest destroyer is, but I would only use it with concealment expert. Otherwise, it doesn't really do you any good.
Right. Okay. If you don't take that main battery range for the farm, makes sense to me. Okay.
Yeah, that one's fine too. Although you only get like about 1 kilometers of effective range. Past that, your shells are too floaty.
Right. Okay. Signal flags, anti-det, fire chance, flood chance. Why? Rob, defensive anti-air consumable cooldown time. Are you planning on going up against carriers?
I think I just started to give me the recommended signals.
Yeah, Desta, we're doing replays now. No. If you're a division with a carrier, I can see you taking this, but no. Otherwise, no.
Let me go see. It might actually be just default.
Okay.
Yeah.
He does not have
part of
range,
the
no.
default.
Yeah. Don't blindly follow the recommended choices. Make your own decisions. It's very important in this game. Make your own decisions. And I think this kind of helps to demonstrate why you want to make your own decisions. All right. Did I take a screenshot of you already? Remember? Month?
So
What
we
the hell's
looked at
month?
match. It looks like it's mostly a tier 10 with a couple tier 9s and tier 8s. So you would be top tier. Rob, I'm gonna give you a short quiz then. What do you think of the destroyer lineup on both sides?
Well, I wasn't wanting to come up against the Sherman in this match. I know the Sherman
okay, I'll be more
outdamage me.
I'll be more specific. What
Oh,
is
crash
your,
into the sub, please. Push the sub forward. Come on. It's AFK. Do it.
basically what's your matchup against the destroyers, generally speaking? Like, what is your advantages? What's your disadvantages?
Oh, for most of those, my advantage is my rate of fire.
Okay.
I mean, you're up against a Marceau,
And-
Sherman, a Shimikaze, Yu Yang. Honestly, your only advantage for rate of fire is Shimikaze, Yu Yang. Please don't go into the C cap or the A cap. What are you doing? This is very risky.
So the reason why going into a cap like this may not be the best is because your Marceau, speed is your biggest advantage. You're forced to sit in the cap for a while just to take it. If someone comes on the other side, say a Sherman, and he
Yep.
hydros you, you're
Yep.
literally stuck there.
Yep. I'm also pausing you for a second because here is where you really wish you had radial location. If you had radial location, you would know where the closest enemy is. Is it the Palmer? Is it the curve first? Or is there somebody closer? If there's somebody closer, you know where to go.
Also,
This feels really concerning because you're you're going straight north. You should be turning at the very least east here.
Also, there's another thing. Rob, do you know what roles the Marceau excels at?
Farming.
Farming, destroyer hunting.
Destroyer hunting, not so much, and you're not well equipped to do that. But
No.
farming, you're correct. You see these two German battleships there? Yeah. So that is a Kurfürst and a Palmer that are literally paid actors going in, and it is your job to farm the crops.
And
By
you will.
sitting in a cap, by sitting in the cap here, you don't have that freedom of maneuverability.
Well,
Like,
ironically, SAT, you say that, and Rob is actually capping. He's detected
that
though.
is possible. It is possible. Like, it's not the best play, but sometimes you can get away with it.
Dude,
If I was
wait,
the Marceau, I would be out on the one line and trying to just farm the bow and battleships.
I can't believe that you got the cap. Also, can't believe that the Bilal just pinged you. Okay, I like the decision to torpedo in his general direction. That's good. Engine boost here. Because he's probably firing torpedoes at you, and engine boost is a way of saying F you to torpedoes.
Yeah.
You
So
absolutely
right
need to
now-
open up your range, though. Get away from these people.
Working on it.
Another common mistake is that
Shoot the
destroyer
guns?
players will give up the flank in order to take the cap. So yeah, you took the cap this time, but there was a very high risk a destroyer just could have contested you there.
Right.
In which case, that curvers would have came around and just blocked you. You don't
I'm
need to
very
get it at
surprised
the
you didn't
beginning.
contest. You didn't open up with your guns there, because you might as well. What are you afraid of?
I wasn't sure who the enemy Marceau was at the time.
And you're afraid of the Marceau because why?
Well, not just the Marceau, like the Des Moines had shots on me. So I was
Again,
like,
you're afraid of the Des Moines because why? If you're up close and personal with a Des Moines, I get why you're afraid of the Des Moines in a Marceau. You're not. You're at long. Oh god, yeah. You're at super long range. If you're at super long range, Des Moines is not a threat because you can dodge his very floaty shells.
Yep, he's not a threat.
Right.
So you've come out here to farm the curve first,
Yep.
and like basically the difference is if you're out here farming at the start, curve first would be dead, Palmer would be probably dead as well, and that would have saved a lot of HP from your teammates.
So
And
what
then
you're
you can
saying?
go back and take the cap.
What you're saying is instead of capping the cap, if he had farmed instead. Also, damn, you turned in. What are you doing turning in here?
I see it's a common misplay for destroyers, just kind of like they hyper focus on the cap, but not understand sometimes in order to take the cap, you have to secure the area around that.
Right.
Like, sure, you can take A, but sometimes you'll just end up losing it in 5 minutes anyways, or 5 seconds, because the enemy is much stronger.
Yep. Good shots on the Yu Yang, Rob. I like that you were alert enough to immediately jump into that.
What I would do is just run straight at him.
Yep, I would agree.
Using your guns is nice, but you want to get close to him. You want to get as close to him as possible.
The only other threat out there for you is the Bilal, and in theory, that should be food for you as well.
Yeah, your biggest problem is actually keeping him spotted. He could smoke pretty soon, or he could try to run away.
Yep.
And of course, there's that island.
Yep. Fortunately for you, two things. One, the Yu Yang is smoke, and two, well, he was in front of you for a very, 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 very long time.
Yep, that's a good kill.
Now you're upset that the Schleifen is blocking your path? Why are you upset the Schleifen is blocking your path?
because I was trying to turn out towards B here to help with that
Okay.
flank.
Okay.
I honestly wouldn't worry too much. Like, you're a Marceau, you're pretty fast. You probably want to be more on the flanks anyways. Like, I'd rather, if it was me, I would actually go up to about B3, B4-ish, see if I can deal with the Iwami in North Carolina.
Right. And Desta, that's exactly correct. It was a Yu Yang. Those are deep water torpedoes. They won't hit Rob.
Capture that area. Concentrez le tir sur le navire ennemi.
Alright, so what is your plan, Rob, here? Now that you've taken care of A.
Remember correctly, I was looking to sort of help contest B or Help stall the enemy.
Boost des moteurs activé. L'équipage des canons anti-aériens est en alerte générale.
So the way you're thinking, it's good as a typical destroyer player, but that's not exactly what the Marceau does here.
I'd like to see you heading north to Charlie 3 and then farming the Iwami Midway from the back, essentially.
Yeah. Like, you can do destroyer things, but that's not your main priority.
Right.
And that's also not playing to your ship's strength. Here,
Right.
like you know Marceau is a gunboat, right?
L'équipage des canons anti-aériens est en état d'alerte normale.
So with
Torpille
your
par
speed
l'arrière.
and your high firepower, you're
Torpille à 6
closer
heures.
to an ultra-light cruiser than a
Notre équipe a pris le montage.
capping destroyer.
Mm-hmm.
So instead, your goal should be
Torpille
to
par
secure
l'arrière.
the flanks, farm the enemy out, and let your other destroyers or other ships push in and take the cap.
Right. Even right now, you're in trouble because you're heading towards Marceau, Montana, and Sherman. And the island is kind of forcing you to head this way. And you really don't want to. Alright, there's the opening up with the guns. You're way off.
Yeah, against French destroyers, you have to give a lot more lead.
Yep. The problem is, you're gonna let him get his decap. You just beach in front of him? Really? Why?
Yeah,
Alerte incendie.
this is the reason why you generally don't want to run into caps like
L'équipage des
this.
canons
Like,
anti-aériens
the
est en alerte
islands
générale.
constrict your
Problème
movement
résolu,
quite a
chef.
bit, and
Yep.
you're gonna get balanced by midway if he's lucky. Or if he actually went for you.
Yep, exactly, Desta. And that's why I think going into the backfield would have been a better choice instead of going into the middle of the map, where the rest of your team is, really.
Yeah. Your biggest advantage is being able to position
Attention.
literally at will.
repéré
So
à
you
sa
want to pick the most
position.
advantageous positions that force the enemy to spread their fire. In
Right.
that case, you could have been attacking Iwami out on the side here.
L'équipage des canons anti-aériens est en état d'alerte normale.
You don't like this passive gameplay while you can flank enemies aggressively. I agree, Desta, but it's what Rob did.
Yeah. And us, like, we're giving feedback. This is pretty much the reason why why you submit the replay to the channel.
Yep.
Like, I'm not being harsh on him. I'm just pointing out, hey, these are things that you can do better. And I
Yep.
think Rob could definitely do better if he better understood the strengths and roles of his ship, which we're trying to point out.
Yeah.
Yep. Midway focuses the Yu Yang and misses. Are you gonna come out in front of the Montana and try to torpedo him here? You are.
Yeah. This is one of the
Why?
French destroyer's strength.
It's a strength, I just don't know they need to do it.
It's not necessary, but you can get away with it considering the game's almost over.
Problème résolu, chef.
AP electric, not a bad idea. Sherman, focus
Yeah.
Sherman right now. Focus Sherman. Try killing the Montana anyway. Or the Sherman can beach and take torpedoes too. That
Thank you, Montana.
can absolutely work. What the hell?
That is a paid actor there.
Heck W.
La victoire est à notre portée.
Honestly, I would have just charged in to get my other set off.
True.
Like, the game is over. You can just die. Give Zath a death pick and go on to your next game.
I would appreciate all of this. And backwards says Montana with the assist.
Boost des
Right?
moteurs activé.
Montana made that possible. So GG there.
Yeah, and Rob, it's good that you pointed out you have 400 health, but in this case, it really doesn't matter. You could literally just YOLO into the enemy.
Might
There's
as
no way
well.
they can come back.
Might as well. If you get 1 or 2 extra base XP out of it, it's worth it.
Yep.
So, while we have a minute, what are we gonna call this replay, guys?
So this replay, I think we're more pointing out that he is not using the ship to his strengths. Like,
Captain
yeah,
C would
you
be
could
good,
be
yes, backwards.
successful,
Okay.
but there was a lot of times where he could have gotten punished by the enemy if they were in the right positions.
So play to
But
to strengths.
Yeah.
Replay name. What's the plan? Right. American Marceau. Okay.
All stations reporting the position of a strategic
Sorry, Zeko. I have to deal with asteroid and then now this Ratang or Repulse game from
And a Minsk. From
Minsk?
Desta.
really
Well, he said
Desta-
Minsk, but I think we both know what he means meant by that.
Okay. Okay. Well, we might not get to all of that today. We'll see. Wish I took AR for the type. Did you not take Adrenaline Rush?
I did take Adrenaline Rush. I had the Adrenaline Rush going.
Okay.
Torpille à midi.
You just guessed that. I mean, if you have the buffed adrenaline rush, that would help. Okay, well, anyway, it's a win, and in the words of Livy Smith, a win is a win is a win. All right, well, let's take a look at your end battle results screens. You came in 3rd place. Killed 2 ships,
It's a
you
pretty
Yang
good
and Sherman.
performance overall.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I still would have liked to have seen you get in the backfield, but okay.
Yeah. I think you would have done a little bit more in the backfield.
Mhm.
The best part was actually the best that you used the Marceau was when you ran down the YY.
Right.
So yeah, keep practicing. The more you practice, the more you'll understand like the mindset of a gunboat.
Right.
Like, basically, Marceau is not meant to be played like a typical, like your typical destroyer. You want to make sure you're farming more damage. Like 72k, 3rd place on the team is nice, but in this game, I think you could have gone about at least 100k. I would have liked
Right.
to see about 120k, 150k.
Backwards brings up a good point. You got 3rd place partly because the Montana held that Sherman in place so you can double torpedo him and kill him. You probably would have been lower on the team scoreboard if that wasn't the case.
Most of it also came from the early A cap.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, like I said, you know, you've got a good opportunity to get into the backfield and just cause all kinds of mayhem, and you didn't do that. Instead, you sailed back to be with your fleet.
Yeah. You want to be careful when maneuvering around islands. That
Mhm.
very fast speed will backfire on you because you can get stuck on islands very quickly, and which is pretty
Yep.
much what happened.
Marceau wants to be open water. Marceau open water means you got the flexibility to use your torpedoes while you are not detected. You got the flexibility to reposition so that you can shoot things when they're distracted and looking at something else. But you didn't do that, and going middle means you kind of gave that stuff up.
Not to mention, you can also dodge quite well.
Yep.
Like, you saw how hard it was to hit Marceau at 7 kilometers.
Right. Okay.
But that being said, you did use another one of the French destroyers' advantage.
Mhm.
If you were able to use the island and get very close to the Montana to torp.
Yep. Effective range of the Marceau depends on the ship that you're targeting. If it's a battleship, I'd say 15. If it's a cruiser, I'd say closer to 10. If it's a destroyer, it's probably closer to 5. Because they're 127mm guns. Very floaty.
If you're good at aiming, typically about 7 or 8 kilometers for, against destroyers. Cruisers at high tiers is typically closer to about 10 to 12.
Yeah, it sounds about right. Drifting says square peg, round hole. True. All right. Well, Rob, thank you for sending the replay in. We're going to go ahead and move on to our next replay.